Hey, Soul Tribe, it's the Joy Healer, Kathy Weiss. I help people like you find deep fulfillment and lasting freedom at the level of your soul, which is joy. And I am coming to you live from my reading room here on the central coast of California with your weekly energy reading for the week of April 13th through the 19th. Did I do the math right on that? 2020. I hope so. Hey, everybody. So much we need to talk about today. And I'm like, oh my God, where do we start? We're going to start with energy healing and then get into all the good stuff. But hey, y'all, just in case, I'm feeling like, I don't have crazy potty mouth, but I'm feeling like I'm probably going to drop an F-bomb or two today. So if you've got sensitive ears and you need to put in your earbuds or headphones or something like that, please go ahead and do that now. And hey, guys, for the first time ever, I have Kleenex sitting right next to me because we're talking about the grief that's in the collective energy today. Some of it is totally expected right now, and some of it is a little bit unexpected. And I will probably be feeling a lot of that with and for you today. There's a lot I want to say about the grief, but before we do, I'm just loving starting off with some energy healing today. For all like recently in the last recent weeks. So I'm going to do some energy healing, and the energy healing that I will be doing for us today is 100% right there around grief. I sort of envision like there's like this cut on your arm, and I'm gonna send some energy healing to that cut, which is the symbolism of your grief, to help close it up. So if you would like to receive energy healing today, especially if you have any expected or unexpected grief, have your hands in an open position. It could be towards the camera, on your lap, down by your sides. And if you're like, I'm not so sure about that, Kathy, just have your hands palms face down or make some gentle fists to just disconnect from the energy, because I am going to be just sending it out to everyone who's willing to receive. You can have your eyes open or closed. I like to close my eyes to just focus my attention more deeply on the energy healing, but it's not necessary. And so I am sending very specific energy today for grief. And as I was just saying, I'm imagining grief today as like a cut on your arm. And I am sending this beautiful golden light. And like ever so slowly, like I could just close that wound up with the light so that not even a mark or a blemish or a scar is left behind. And as I move towards completely sealing this cut with the golden light, it's like I can see the last of the energy leaving up and out and just dissipating into the ether. And one more second. I just want to make sure that I get all the way to the end. Okay, and that little bit of healing is complete. Ooh, friends, so much grief in the collective energy. And I have, like, we're going to bounce around a little bit more today than normal. And if you're just joining in, yeah, I think there's going to be a couple F-bombs. So earbuds if you need them, okay? So I have some channeled messages. I've been invited to tell a story. I haven't told a story in a while. I'm going to pop over and read a second channeled message, and then we're going to do an oracle card. So there's going to be all kinds of really fun things today. And of course, as always, if you have questions or comments or just want to say hi along the way, just pop them down there for me. Here's what our guides were saying first thing this morning. When I woke up, I heard it like super loud and clear. Now is the time to make peace within the walls of your heart with expected grief, with the loss of things that are real and imagined, and how these are intertwined with your identity. Hey, Hannah. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? The sun came out right as we did energy healing and you could feel that? Awesome. I love that kind of magic. So check it out, guys. Your losses, both real and imagined, intertwine and become part of the fabric of your identity. And it makes sense for the things that we're obviously grieving right now in the collective. We're grieving loss of freedom, loss of economic stability, endings and closures. Like I think about people in school settings and things like that, like they're missing the ending of the year and the closing ceremonies and the celebrations that help humans mark times of transition. And I can just feel like I'm feeling so sad already. But some of the grief that's rising up as we sit in stillness, as we sort of have backed off from the fullness of our lives, there is unexpected grief coming up. One of them that I feel in the collective energy of parents or people in families that have children, if you're not a parent, but you have like nieces and nephews or things like that, or siblings, the grief it's like we're saying, oh, we feel so sad for these kids who aren't graduating or promoting or going to prom or signing their yearbooks or things like that. Yes. And also, we're feeling our own grief. Oh my God, you guys, it's so strong. Fuck, right? That's why I have the Kleenex today. We're feeling our own grief of missing out on witnessing that, right? We're sitting in the grief of not being able to sit and witness someone's passing or someone's ending or someone's celebration, and the emotions that we were expecting to have around that, whether it was pride or joy or melancholy or whatever it is. As a collective, there is just so much unexpected grief rising. And I'm going to share a story with you guys about my own grief that I'm experiencing during this time, and the 13-year-old grief that popped up for me and surprised the shit out of me. But why it's important to allow it. Because here's the thing, like just today, somebody was like, yeah, but Kathy, if you're the joy healer, are you telling me that I'm going to be laughing all the time? And I was like, okay, number one, no, that would be exhausting. But number two, we can't feel joy if we can't feel grief. We have to be able to feel all emotions in order to access our joy and truly feel our joy. So with grief right now, we have to let it come up when it comes up. We have to feel it when it's asking to be felt, so that we can also access our joy, and we can access it and feel it faster and quicker. So let me tell you about my grief. It's like so fascinating. Just maybe like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I had was having a hard day already, and I was like sitting at my desk and I was crying, and I realized, wow, guys, I'm gonna feel it again, so just bear with me. I was grieving that I don't teach first and second grade anymore. And I haven't taught first and second grade in 13 years, guys. I stopped being an elementary school teacher 13 years ago, and I tell you what, I did not look back. I was like, the door was closed on that, and I was like running for the hills because I was so over that whole profession. But I sat and I felt so sad because I missed the kids and I missed teaching. And what I really missed right now was being an authority for the parents who are struggling in this moment. Like I haven't taught in so long, it doesn't seem right or fair for me to step up as an educator and say, here's how you can be educating your first graders during stay-at-home time or whatever. It just wasn't right. And also what I was grieving was how fucking good I was as an elementary school teacher. I was like off the charts. People all the time were like, oh my God, you're so good. You're such a natural. I trained like 12 student teachers in my 10-year run as an elementary school teacher. And it was ridiculous. And I just missed teaching a first grader how to read and how to write, like with all of my heart and soul. And it reminded me of the Bhagavad Gita. And if you don't know what the Bhagavad Gita is, it's cool. It's like, let's just call it really ancient, really groovy yoga love poems is the way I like to think of it. It's like a love song to yogis or anybody who is doing any kind of spiritual seeking. And in this book, one thing it says that strikes me is it says, it's better to do your own duty badly than to perfectly do another. You are safe from harm when you do what you should be doing. And here's the thing, I shouldn't have been teaching elementary school anymore because it was also boring the shit out of me. Like I could, I was so good and so natural at it that it was like rote and it wasn't challenging me and it wasn't forcing the growth and expansion of my soul. So the other thing that I was grieving was the loss of being really good at something and having it be so easy. And I'm not saying I'm not really good at the work that I do now, because I am also fucking really great at being an intuitive and a clairvoyant and helping people. But there are things behind the scenes of this work that I do that is the business side of it that sometimes I struggle with. I was grieving that too. I was like, fuck, I am so tired of this part being challenging for me. And so what I did was I sat and I cried on Friday. I think it was Friday. And I cried and I felt sad. And then I'm a little bit like bringing it up now because I'm reminiscing, but it moved through me. And I felt calm and there, let me, right? Oh, I gave myself permission to feel the grief I didn't feel 13 years ago. And it was like, I feel so much better. I feel so much more at peace. I feel such a sense of calm. And then because I let the grief pass, Source said this to me: your ineptitude is beautiful, a shining star in the night sky. And it was like, holy crap, I'm safe, right? I'm safe to do my duty, my calling, to serve you as an intuitive and a clairvoyant, and to try to market and sell it, which is where I struggle. I'm okay being kind of dorky at it. I'm okay with being awkward and uncomfortable, because when I'm doing my duty perfectly, when I'm bringing a sincere heart and all of my passion and all of my fulfillment and all of my joy, rather than my boredom, right? I will guarantee you there is one thing I do not bring. It's boredom. I bring such engagement and such interest and such passion that right here, what it says, and this was written thousands of years ago: when I do my own duty imperfectly, I am safe from harm. And that was like what Source was saying. It was saying like, you can be imperfect at this and no harm is ever going to come to you at the level of your soul. And it was just so peaceful. And I just all of a sudden felt so comfortable in my own identity. And I'm sharing this with you because you can have that too. You absolutely can have that too. And what the messages say is that if you release the grip and the hold of what you do imperfectly, and you align with your soul's purpose and you just bring it, you're going to find that peace. And I'm being told to go back a page. Oh, this I actually channeled before I had the meltdown to tell you that story. Check it out, because this is like so awesome. What would happen if for just a moment you let people see the real you? It's a little scary, like I'm letting you see the real me and the person who grieves first graders and the person who grieves kind of being awkward at marketing. But like, what would happen if you let people see that part of you? Beneath your brave face and the masks and the hiding, what if you showed your humanity and knew you couldn't fail? That's what the Bhagavad Gita is saying. What if you show your humanity and know you couldn't fail? What if you broke yourself so completely wide open for the world to see, and like the spiders and the guts and the blood and the veins, blah, because you know what else is in there? Pure gold. Pure gold is in there. And you're going to get it wrong, and you're going to get it right. And you will win and you will lose. And here's the thing that like makes me feel for you guys. You will lose 1 billion times more than you will win. You totally will. And it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks, right? But this is why I brought Kleenex today, you guys. There's so much grief in the collective, and I'm feeling it for you. And I'm feeling it with you. Let it out. If you fucking cry on Facebook, let it out, right? Don't crawl into your hole and die, guys. Don't do that. Life is too precious for that. So, rise up and let your aching heart gently and bravely crack open for others to see. And in that way, you win. Okay? So, as much grief as you're feeling, and as much grief as I'm feeling for you, because part of this is mine. I totally accept it. Part of this is mine. Part of this is yours. As a highly sensitive, part of it is the grief I've been feeling in the collective, and I've been feeling it for a couple weeks and not wanting to share that with you because it's uncomfortable. But it's hard right now in the collective. It's hard for me to be in the collective. It's hard for me to be highly sensitive right now because people are sad and scared, but more sad than anything for all of the things we've lost along the way and all of the things we haven't felt that people are starting to feel in this stillness. So I'm not on Facebook a lot right now. I'm not on Instagram a lot right now because it's hard for me to be in those places with you and feel everything that you're feeling. But what we're being asked to do right now, oh, thank you, Hannah. Yeah, let's all just cry together, right? If we can just cry and release, we will feel calmer and we will feel more peace and we'll have more clarity about what to do after. People have been asking me a little bit like, what's this all about? Why is this happening? What's going to happen after? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know right now because we're in the middle of it. But when we get to the end of it, if in the process we grieve and we cry when we need to cry, and if you don't need to, don't feel like bad or wrong if you are not grieving right now. But afterwards, we will have clarity about what our losses were and what's valuable to us, because grief is highlighting what's valuable. And grief is also highlighting where you're vulnerable. So if you're just joining in, I'm totally crying today because I'm feeling the collective grief and I'm expressing my own personal grief along with the collective. And you might need to go back and kind of get the context of the story to help with that. But, one of the things that I'm grieving was like, not only the teaching of those little guys, but how easy it was for me, and that my life now as it is not as easy as it used to be in that way. But if we can just feel that, it brings clarity, because then the clarity is like, you know what? I would still way rather be awkward and uncomfortable and not great at every aspect of someone who works behind the scenes to promote their services than ever go back to being bored every fucking day in my job. Because I'll tell you what, as much as I loved teaching those kids, it was boring. And so the clarity of my grief is that I don't want that anymore. I would much rather be here with you, making a mess of myself on Facebook to help heal your grief with you. And also, if you just tuned in, I did some energy healing around grief right at the top of the video, where I helped to seal and close up any wounds of grief that you're feeling right now. And I'm just hearing, as I start to pull a card for us, you're so loved. You are so loved. And Source knows how hard it is for us to be called to rise up and do things imperfectly, if that's part of our soul's calling. Like Source knows, like, I just asked you to do something that's going to be really hard and awkward and uncomfortable for you. But if you can rise up and do that, no harm can truly come to you at the level of your soul. Like, here's what I know for certain. No matter what, like, I'm snotting and crying and expressing and feeling grief for and with you, I can't be harmed in this way. I can only do good. And if I only do good for 1 or 2 or 3 people, that's all that matters. That's what Dharma or soul's purpose is about. And so I'm being asked to loop around to Joy before I pull the card, because here's the thing. The fact that, yeah, I'm gonna wipe my nose. See, it's like boom, instantly felt the grief, let it pass through, out. Guess what? Boom, I popped right back up to joy. I feel so good and so happy and so light and so peaceful because it flowed through. So don't get fooled by the fact that I'm called a joy healer. And don't get fooled that when I say I give people tools to feel joy, that it means you're going to sit around being ecstatic and happy all the time. That isn't it. Some of the tools that you need to experience and access joy more frequently is the permission and the tools to experience your grief and your sorrow. Because if you can feel grief and sorrow, you can feel joy. Okay? But if you don't and you can't and you cut off from your grief and sorrow, you are also don'ting and canting and cutting off from your joy. We could go like way more into that, and I'm going to in the coming weeks, but right now we need to stay present with the fact that we're healing grief. So let's have an oracle card, and this is a Sacred Rebels deck, and here's why I chose Sacred Rebels today. I think there's nothing more sacred and precious and divine and beautiful and brave than being able to say out loud, I'm grieving. I'm sad. And right now, like the spiritual community and the people that are not, I'm so happy for them. But as a highly sensitive, I'm in the grief. But I feel like not so much. Like in the course of this video, I feel like I felt it for you. I felt it with you. I healed it for you. I healed it with you. And I'm kind of set free of it. So like maybe I'm going to be back around on Facebook and Instagram again now that like it's happened. I don't know. It depends on what the energy is going to be. But you're right. You're smelling what I'm selling. Like, feel the grief. I feel so much better. So there's nothing more sacred and beautiful and rebellious and amazing than being honest and cracked wide open and knowing that nothing could ever bring you harm. This is listening for truth. I hesitated a little bit because I saw listening for truth for myself maybe like a day or two ago. And I'm like, hey, I just saw that card. Yeah. And listening for the inner wisdom. Wow, all of a sudden I'm also really exhausted, guys. Here's the thing. Grief, if you're feeling it in any way, whether it's expected and the obvious stuff, whether it's something unexpected, grief is a very tiring emotion. And so as you allow it to move through you and you have your cry and your wail and your scream and your sorrow, you may also need a nap. Okay? And that's okay. And just be cool with that and know that if you rest and you sleep as you process and heal your grief, it's an energetic wound, right? That's why I was doing an energetic wound healing, is because grief is an energetic wound. And just like a physical wound, it needs to heal. And how do we heal wounds? But with rest and sleep. Okay, so if all of a sudden you're really tired, either now or tomorrow or the next day, nappy, or go to bed earlier and stay in bed a little bit longer. Listening for truth. No way I'm going to read this whole thing, but here's what it says. You're hearing something that is not being said, and what you are hearing is truthful. You feel as though you might be the only one ready to hear or see it, and perhaps you've been working on a situation where truth is consistently denied. But you're being asked to love yourself enough to honor the truth, even if you feel like you're the only one doing so. Sacred rebels need truth like lungs need oxygen. Yeah, and even if it's uncomfortable or awkward, there is peace and there is beauty. And I feel like if there is one thing I can reiterate, is that there is beauty in all of it. It's the humanity, right? And something that I feel like that some of us were grieving around everything that's happening with this global pandemic is that we've sort of cut ourselves off from humanity, and we're starting to recognize that, and we're kind of grieving the way that we have cut ourselves off from humanity. But now we get to rise up into something new. When it's just give me a couple more weeks. We're going to figure that out. This oracle brings you guidance. If you have the truth one. If you have been worn down and depressed by lies, gossip, deceit, or backstabbing, don't fret. Get out in nature and spend some time communing with the infinite, and healing will come to you now. Yeah, get outside, guys, as much as you possibly can right now. It's like, remember, we are sheltering at home, but we are not locked within our walls. I am sending you so much love. Our guides are hearing that we are complete, that a lot of healing happened through today's messages more than guidance. And like normally these are very much about guidance videos or messages, but today this was really more about healing. And I feel a big like collective breath of healing has happened for us, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for courageously showing up to your lives right now, whether it's easy and it feels really good or whether it's awkward and uncomfortable. You are all just beautiful, beautiful warriors. And if you want some more healing on a personal one-to-one level, you guys know how to find me. It's a joyhealer.com, or you can message me, and I would be thrilled to guide and assist you and give you a few more tools to help you come into deep fulfillment and lasting freedom in your soul, which is joy. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. I love you so much. And questions or comments, send them my way. Namaste. Bye.